Hello, in this video I will demonstrate how to install monitoring OpenShift in Splunk Enterprise. The solution is built by Call Solutions and consists of two parts. The first part is monitoring OpenShift application for Splunk, and the second part is Collector D, containing a native software for discovering, transforming, and forwarding logs and collecting metrics. At first, we need to install monitoring OpenShift application in Splunk. In case of single instance, you can install application directly from Splunk base using the web interface of Splunk. In case of Search cluster, you can download the tar archive and install the application using Search cluster deployer. This application needs to be installed only on search heads. Verify that you have access to the application, and we can move forward to the next step. The second part of our application is Collector D, containing a native solution for forwarding logs and collecting metrics. It uses HTTP event collector to forward data to Splunk. HTTP event collector isn't enabled by default in Splunk installations. You can need to enable it under data inputs in HTTP event collector. You can go to the global settings, enable it, and by default it listens on HTTPS on port 8088. You don't need to restart your Splunk instance. After that, we need to create the new token. The HTTP event collector tokens is authorization mechanism for clients to send data to Splunk. You can associate them with specific indexes and specify to which indexes this token is allowed to write to. With the next step, we will verify that we have connection to the HTTP event collector. It's better to run this test command from one of the OpenShift nodes to verify that this node has the connection to HTTP event collector and has access to this URL. You can find an example of cool command that we recommend to run in our installation instruction. Just copy paste this command, change the URL to the URL of your Splunk instance, or it can be URL of your load balancer, and after that change the token value to the value of the token you just created. You can find it in the list of tokens under HTTP event collector settings. After that, using this command, run it from one of the OpenShift nodes to verify that this node actually has access to HTTP event collector. If you'll see the success command, you can also go to the Splunk web interface and verify that the Splunk actually received this event. If you install your OpenShift cluster with the Ansible scripts provided by Red Hat, most likely all the pre-requirements are already met. But we still strongly recommend you to verify that you're using JSON login driver as the default login driver. Collector D uses JSON logs as the source for container logs. You can verify that by running docker info command. We also recommend you to verify that you have host logs under var log folder. The reason for that can be that your host is configured in the way that only stores doc in journal D. As an example, Minishift uses journal D for storing host logs, and it stores them only in memory, so that you cannot actually read them and forward to Splunk. You can just check that, for example, messages file exists under var log folder and it has some data in it. Now we're ready to install Collector D on your OpenShift nodes. We install Collector D as the daemon set, one daemon set for the masters and one daemon set for the worker nodes, and one additional deployment to collect data that needs to be collected only once. Make sure that you have access to your OpenShift cluster from the CLI and verify the version of the OpenShift cluster. On our website, you can find collector for OpenShift.yaml manifest file for every supported version of OpenShift. Download collector for OpenShift YAML manifest file and open it in your favorite editor. First, please read our user agreement, review it, and accept it. You can accept it by changing value to true for accept EULA. And after that, we need to configure Splunk output. Use the URL we used in the curl command, so we know that this is the same URL that we verified. and also set the token to the token we just used to for verification of HTTP event collector. If you're using default configuration for Splunk HTTP event collector, it's using self-signed certificate, so you will need to change insecure to true to allow collector D to accept an invalid SSL certificate. After that, we are ready to install collector for OpenShift in our OpenShift cluster. For that, run oc apply command. And after this, you need to add collector for OpenShift service to the privileged security context. So collector D will be able to access the host folder to read the proc file system and cgroup file system and logs from containers and hosts. If you're using our certified images hosted on registry connect.redhat.com, this registry requires authentication. For that, you can create the full secret. Switch to the collector for OpenShift projects and try to log in to the registry connect.redhat.com from one of the nodes where you have your OpenShift installed. Docker CLI tool stores the authentication information in the config.json file. You can use this file to create the pull secret. After creating this secret, you need to link this secret to the collector for OpenShift service account. After that, you can delete all the ports in the collector for OpenShift namespace. So OpenShift will recreate these ports with just created pull secret. It can take a few moments before the new ports will be scheduled, and you can run oc get all namespace collector for OpenShift command to see the current status of ports and daemon sets and deployment. Give it a few moments, and now we should see that ports are in running state. Give it a few minutes, and after this, go to Splunk, to the monitoring OpenShift application, refresh the page, and you should see the data in the application. You can find these installation instructions, also troubleshooting steps, and all other documentation on our website www.callsolutions.com. Thank you for watching.